Morning. What's up, office? What's up? How are you?
Doing good, sir. How are you?
Good. Trying to shake this cold, man. Fucking 10 days now. Still coughing and shit.
You better check you don't have walking pneumonia, because that's what I had.
Yeah, I went. I'm good. I had the flu.
Just
Dude,
as
I
bad.
was sick for 8 weeks like that. It was crazy.
Why? Wait, jokes. You've been coughing up like
I
shit that you never coughed up before?
Yeah, I felt like I was
Ugh,
back to the days of smoking 3 packs of cigarettes a day. But 2.
ugh.
Damn.
Jokes.
Hope
Who
you
we
feel
getting?
better, man.
Yeah, man. Who we getting as GM?
I don't know, bro. I don't know.
For some reason, I think it's going to be Flores now, man. I don't know why. I'm
I don't think
jokes.
so.
Jokes. I've never been so negative about the Jets, man.
I don't think so. I think it's going to be Glenn.
Well, that too. I mean, I don't. I'm
And
not going to be. I'm not going
I'm
to
not
hate it,
happy.
but
I am. You know what people
what?
don't, you know why? I'll give you that. Forget about him not being even as qualified as Salah was. All right. You can also take into account Ben Johnson's going to get hired, and he's going to wipe away half the staff he goes with him. And let's be honest, why would you come to the New York Jets with no quarterback and no nothing when you can just take a promotion with the Lions? So, like, if you pick up Aaron Glenn, you're not even getting the staff from the Lions. Like, who you getting? And then he comes back to the same problem. But
Yeah,
we're going to
you
have a
don't
shit
think they'll
offense.
plug? You don't think they'll get a guy or two from the staff? Somebody will go with him. He'll take something.
Who?
But
Like
right. Like
the
a
third
no.
string guy?
Well, like probably like a linebacker assistant coach. You know what I mean? I
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
know
I'm
who it
not. I
is.
don't care about the.
No,
I
I
don't care
know.
about the defensive staff. Offensively, like Brunell already said, he's going wherever Ben Johnson goes. Brunell's his OC slash quarterbacks coach. So then, who are you getting? The
Yeah, it
line
sucks.
coach, like big deal.
By the way,
And
Mark
we're gonna
Brunell
have
had one of the loudest snap counts I've ever heard.
yes. So
Yep.
like that's the problem that we're getting. You get Glenn. Like are you gonna go get Davis Webb because he's the quarterbacks coach for Peyton, and they got to connect. Like, who do you get? So again, you're gonna get
Jokes. I'm
another
sure
defensive
somebody.
guy.
Right. I'm sure somebody though, and I don't know who it is.
Who like Carmichael from the Saints? He's
No,
fucking terrible.
I get it, but somebody's gonna want to get promoted, man. Somebody's
Yeah,
gonna take it.
but if how about this? I'll give you. I'll flip it. I'll ask you the question. If you were, let's say, the quality control assistant for the Lions, and you had your choice with either following Aaron Glenn and an unknown with the Jets, you don't know who your quarterback is. You don't know when you're getting a quarterback. You don't know anything. You have the looming issues with Rodgers and Devontae, the salary cap hell. Would you take that job, or would you stay in the same place that you've been for the last 3 years with the same personnel that you've watched develop and coach that? Honestly.
Okay. I'm gonna be fair here. I would stay with the Lions, but it depends on how much money I get offered with the Jets. If they blow me away with an offer, then I'm going to the Jets.
I see. I would probably take less money to stay there because I know that I'm going to get a head coaching opportunity with the talent that I have there. I would rather sacrifice a little bit of money now to make more money later.
Yeah, but you also have to realize that these offensive coordinators and defensive coordinators, they only get like 2-year contracts.
Yeah.
So you have no security.
Nope.
So you're going to
So
want to go to the best opportunity you have. And I'm not talking just money.
that's what I mean, Rusty. If you look at if you're looking at the bigger picture, and you want to become your goal is to become a head coach. I'm staying with the
Yeah,
Lions.
jokes. Let me just bring something up. I hate to do this. Look at he's still in the league. Brian Schottenheimer is still an OC, and we hated him. We thought he was the worst, and that guy's still been employed for another 12 years.
It's true, but the last time he had the best opportunity to become a head coach was 15 years ago when he was with Rex. He's never had another opportunity to become a head coach.
Did he even get
His
he did get interviewed.
well,
That's
the last
right.
times he got interviewed was when we had him with
That's
Rex.
right. I think he
So
did get
like
interviewed. That's a good
and
point.
why? Because we had the
Because they
best
were
line in the
winning.
NFL. But we had the best line in the NFL. They ran the ball effectively. He was quote unquote grooming a young quarterback. He just not he just interviewed poorly. That's what I'm saying. If you want to become a head coach, you're staying with the Lions. You just are. It's a better situation.
And if you don't stay with the Lions, you're going to go with Ben Johnson,
And
Yeah.
that's exactly the
your
point.
offense.
And which then says if you take Aaron Glenn, what's your staff going to look like? It's going to be another first time play caller. So you're going to have a first time head coach with it's the same exact
Yeah, but
situation you were
jokes.
just in.
Don't you think these guys have all egos and they think they can turn shit around?
I'm not worried about them. View it from us. You're doing the same exact thing you did with Salah.
Yeah, there was no
It
veteran.
was a
I mean,
it,
I
it
don't.
was
There
it
was
was a
one
young,
veteran, but he passed away.
and even him, he was a mid level guy. Like you're bringing in a new offensive, a first time play caller with a first time head coach, like with
So you
probably a
don't think
first.
there's any veteran that's going to come here with Glenn?
Not from
I
a
just
Lions.
gave you
Right.
I gave you one. He was a long time saying you're gonna get like John Morton, Petey. Like
Ugh.
you're
What
gonna
about
get
Peterson jokes?
Pete who Doug Peterson.
Yeah,
I don't think he's got a connection. I'm just going based off
that's
of
fair.
like the tree. Who are you gonna Pete Carmichael from the Saints? Like Jesus Christ, please no.
No, Doug Peterson is Andy Reid, if I'm not mistaken.
What do you mean? Yeah, he's the Andy Reid tree,
Mm-hmm.
and you got to go
But
back and
wait,
look at
isn't Nagy the
you're looking at
offensive
the Sean.
coordinator? Jokes for.
Yes, he
So
Yes,
what if
is.
let's just say Nagy comes here? Could you see Peterson going back to Kansas City with Reed?
Peterson could. He might take the year off.
It's a good
Yeah,
point. Thanks for bringing that up,
If
Juice.
Nagy comes here, you're probably looking at like Mike Kafka.
Yep.
From the Giants.
Yep, he started with the Chiefs.
Did we even
Yep.
request an interview with Peterson?
No.
No, and I wouldn't at
But
this
didn't
point either.
Kafa
To be
just
honest,
You'd
interview with
rather
some
have
other team?
You'd rather have Nagy than Peterson?
I think Peterson. First of all, Peterson I think still has a year left on his contract. So like, why would he rush to do anything? He
Right.
can sit back a year. Like it's sometimes it's best for guys like that to just go away for a little while. And it would be the exact same thing we did with Adam Gase. Granted, now Peterson had a
Ugh.
ring, but he went to Jacksonville, had a franchise quarterback, and got him hurt 2 out of the last 3 years that he was there. Like the shine's worn off. Like it's whatever at this
Yeah,
point.
office, just jump in, man. You're good. Thanks, though. Morning.
I think just getting over being, thank you, sir. I think just getting over being gun shy a little bit, right? Because there has been a lot of a letdown with coaches for the Jets a little bit, right? But not when you thought so. You know what I mean? They brought in decent guys or whatever, but you get one or two guys that just bring that little bit of light at the end of the tunnel, man, and that shit will change. I feel y'all for being a little, you know,
No, office. We feel what you're saying.
morning.
It's just the same shit. Like I've been saying with jokes. Like you're doing the same exact thing. Anytime it's time to hire, it's another hot defensive coordinator who's never coached before.
Yeah, that's
Tired of that.
difficult, bro.
You get tired of that, man. Like, come on. When are you going to change
Real
up? Do
tired.
something different.
I mean, look at my Ravens, dude. We had an okay offense throughout time, but we were still clamoring for better, and we had decent. You know, like I feel you as far as like, yeah, because it's not something that it can be easily turned around, but it can also be very difficult and look monumental too.
But most, listen, June, and this isn't just towards you, but like I know I've been negative, but like it just seems like it's just like there's no chance with these coaches at all. Like if Glenn comes here, we're done. Why can't this guy succeed here though? Like
But
what
dude, it's
if everybody
Groundhog
if
Day
yeah,
though.
but if everybody's saying, like even Rusty said yesterday, you got to keep swinging until you miss. She was trying to cheer me up. Well, what if it does work? Then what? Then obviously we're
But
going to
it's
be
tough.
happy.
Then
We're
everybody knows what
swinging
they were
for a
saying.
quarterback and a coach and a GM.
Right.
And that's another
I
thing
mean,
too. I want to get people riled up. Like, I'm sorry, but everybody says Rodgers with his game that he's getting older. Tyrod Taylor played fucking 1 quarter this year. You think he's going to get better next year?
No, but you're looking at windows, Petey. The window for Rodgers is closed. If he's only got a year left, you're not helping for the future. You're not.
But
Like
jokes,
we
how
took
just
we took the
listen.
shot.
All right, I'm not talking to you like a jerk here.
Yeah,
Explain to
no, no,
me and
it's all
explain
right.
to me how Tyrod Taylor is helping for the future.
You're not. He's just a warm body. And you the if listen, if Aaron Rodgers costs $1 next year, I keep him. But he doesn't. It's 30
Well, and
next year
Tyrod's
and 30 the
salary
follow.
triples.
It's 30 million next year, and if you keep him, it's 30 million the following year, whether he's on the roster or not. So if you told me that you cut him, ate all his guaranteed money, and re-signed them for the veteran minimum, fine, I don't care, but not for the money that he's paying. Why are we jeopardizing 2 years down the road for 9-8 next year? Maybe, and that's like if everything goes well.
Hey, we got Arthur Smith coming in next week. Ain't that
oh
Oh
something?
God.
What, next week?
No,
What
well,
the hell
Yep.
are we doing?
maybe even
I
this.
I just read I just read it. PD says next week Arthur Smith coming in.
no.
I'm
So
not. He's
no,
not. That's
this is
okay. Don't get me wrong.
ridiculous.
Yeah, but Rusty, you're gonna have this shit. They're expand. You heard Schefter say it, and I actually agree with it, and I view it as more of a positive. They are not impressed with the people that the coaching candidates. And thank God, because they were all atrocious. So they're expanding on it. I
But
think
who's
we'll have the
left?
G. I think we'll have the G. We haven't interviewed Josh McCown yet. Flores. We haven't interviewed this asshole Arthur
Yeah, but why
Smith.
can't we do that this week?
That's a good point.
There's in
Why not
person.
Monk? There's
Inter,
guys out there that are.
Yeah, well, yeah, we haven't done. I think today you're going to hear the next round of requests. I think we'll have the GM in place by the weekend,
Well, that's something anyway.
or maybe
in-person
Monday.
interviews start next week at the 20th. They're supposed to start.
Yeah, so you better hope they're not happy with the people we hired or interviewed already. That it's been
100%.
atrocious.
And I want them, of course, if they're going to keep expanding this, then I want them to do McCarthy. I mean, bring him in for crying out loud.
They should.
They're not gonna though. It's just I don't get it.
I'm not sure about that. They keep talking about what happened the last time he interviewed. That was because they had the smear thing with Rogers. Unfortunately, we're in a bad situation because we don't have the first overall pick, which would give you either Cam Smith, Shador, or you can trade out and try to stack up for next year's draft class. You don't have a young quarterback, and you have an old quarterback that is eating up your cap space. Like we're unattractive. But we were never as attractive as we ever been than the year we picked Salah. We had a young quarterback, the second overall pick, plus an extra first round pick because we traded away. We had 2 first round picks that year. We had a chest of picks when we picked Salah. We just picked the wrong guy.
I said this yesterday with Costello. The fact that that narrative comes out of such and such didn't interview well. Who are the Jets to decide what an interview, like we're conducting good interviews? We've shown any history of positive interviewing and good decisions. I hate that he interviewed poorly narrative. I really do.
Well, clearly,
If he interviewed poorly, you're looking at what? 5 years.
I don't. But Rusty, Idsig interviewed great.
Well,
Obviously,
clearly,
Gase interviewed great. Like
you,
this is my issue is like maybe it's our interview versus just because the narrative was Ben Johnson and whatchamacallit, McCarthy. These guys didn't interview well. Yeah, no doubt. 603 winning percentage, Super Bowl. Went to Dallas with a horrific owner. Won 12 games, I think, multiple times. I like. Give me a break with the interview.
Zach Rosenblatt said it's this week, guys, for your information.
this week, what?
Whatever. For
Arthur
Arthur
Smith.
Smith. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure a lot of these. I just need to hear like they at least request Monken.
Yeah, but if they request, that's what I'm saying. Like, oh, man, this just,
But
sorry.
Joe Brady
I'm
can't
going on
interview
mute.
now until they're out of the playoffs, right?
No, he could do a virtual today, this week.
Yeah, but why would you even do a virtual? Wouldn't you want to get the guy in the building?
You
Well,
might,
Like
you
these
but
can't.
he
Zooms,
can't
You
film
like,
them.
Yeah,
can't.
but
no,
PD, but
yes, I
mhm.
understand that, but I'm just saying, like, listen, all during COVID or whatever, the pandemic, we all did Zooms, I'm sure, and fucking everybody's tired of that shit. Why are they still doing it?
Well, that's the
Yeah.
rules
Because
of
that's
the.
rules.
So
You
the
wouldn't
Okay.
have
whole
been
What's
able to
your
do any
Right.
the guy
the
interviews.
from
whole point
Cleveland?
of this was to make it go slower, right? Like to give these teams time who are in the playoffs to focus so the coaches can focus on the game. Because like last year, you had like Dan Quinn already knew he was going to go to the Commanders, and at the same time he was coaching for the Cowboys, the defense. So, but like obviously, the Patriots walked right past
Okay.
it. Like
Wait,
so,
Jersey, do you think Ben Johnson has his eyes set on where he's going already?
Yep.
I think it's the Raiders, dude.
Who's that?
Yeah, I
Ben
think it's
Johnson.
I think
Uh,
Jackson
no,
really wants him.
I think when
I've heard.
Jacksonville said that they're willing to fire Balky, there's zero. Like I don't understand, and that's just a league media driven like bullshit. The Raiders are just as unattractive as we are,
well, maybe they're gonna spend money in free agency on Sam Darnold or someone.
and
Y'all
that's
wouldn't take the offensive guy from Cleveland?
who
Didn't he get fired? Now I
Stefanski.
know
No, he
this year.
didn't.
No, the other guy. What didn't they
Dorsey.
have an offense?
What? No,
All right, I guess I'm wrong. Sorry.
I'm not. I'm not. No offense, but I'm not hiring the guy that Cleveland Browns, probably the second worst, the second worst franchise in the NFL. If they fired him, I'm not making him my head coach. I'm sorry. I'm
I
already
kind
enough
of
of a
just meant
laughing
as the
stock. I'm
I
I
already a
just
meant as
laughing
the
stock.
OC, but
I just
No.
think they should have had a plan because we got rid of Salah so long, and it seems like we're behind the eight ball again.
We
Everybody
are.
I
else was moving, you know.
Yeah, we
Well,
are.
well,
yeah, because what was that? Week 4?
who's ahead though? Like, who's ahead?
I blame
Week
Woody
Titans
5.
are
Johnson.
ahead.
I
The
blame Woody
Titans are.
Johnson. It's been 25 years, and this incompetent fool still needs somebody else to tell him who's good or who's bad.
Yeah, man, that's
Like, do
Hundred
Buddy, I'm
you
percent.
telling you
too.
jokes. It's
do
because he's
you?
an outsider. He's
Hundred
an
percent.
idiot.
No, you were an outsider 25 years ago. You're not an outsider anymore.
But wait, to be
That's
fair
not the
though,
way it works.
who's the team that's hiring Corn Ferry? Who I
It's
just
the
saw
Raiders.
some
But
who was
even
that?
but
The
even
The
that
Raiders?
was
Raiders. Yeah.
Okay.
yeah, and that
It's not
guy's an
just the
idiot.
Jets though, jokes, to be
Yeah,
fair.
but you can at least argue Mark Davis has only been in charge for 5 years. His dad
Yeah.
did. Like Woody's been you've been the owner of the Jets for 25 years. You just can't turn on and like watch, oh wow, this offense looks pretty good. And this guy looks pretty good. And this defense is great. Like, are you a fucking idiot?
Yeah.
I'll be honest, and I've said this before too. Jacksonville, the Jets, the Raiders. These are bad organizations, man. I
Yeah.
know people have elevated like it's a way better job. I'm like, how? These are
Yep.
all terrible fucking organizations that have had a
So
history of
wait,
failure.
Buckeye, do you think the Jets
There's a
job is
difference.
better than Jacksonville's job?
No.
No.
No, 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 no. Plus,
Okay.
there's a difference. Jacksonville owner, he will give you a blank check.
Well, so
That one,
so
June,
Woody
you're
though.
right. Here's the thing about the Jacksonville job, in my opinion. I think Trevor Lawrence is just good enough to get everybody fired. We don't even have a quarterback to get it. There's no expectation. We don't even have a quarterback to get someone fired. Trevor's, there's expectations on what to do with Trevor. If you believe in him, you believe in him. So far, he's gotten 3 guys fired.
I just think that the league views Trevor in a higher light than most fans do.
Yeah.
No, that's fair. But if I'm right, he's gotten 3 people fired so far. There was someone
Pretty
before
much.
Urban or no?
Who's the third?
Nah,
I know
Urban got himself
Peterson
fired.
and
I
and,
don't.
Yeah,
and
Urban did himself dirty.
Who was
Yeah.
before Urban?
No, it was just Urban.
yeah, he came in when they drafted.
So
Wait,
Urban
who what?
Peterson and then the next guy.
Wait, who was the coach of Jacksonville before Urban Meyer? They made the playoffs.
I don't
Oh,
know.
who was it?
Was it
Damn it.
What was this, Doug Marone, or was it
Yeah,
who?
was it Doug
I
Marone?
don't know. If I feel like it's forever ago.
What
I
what
think
was
it was
that?
Yeah,
post-draft.
who knows?
2017?
Wasn't
Yeah, it
post-draft.
was Doug Marone, I think.
But here's the thing about even Peterson. Collectively, the feeling is like, nah, I don't want that guy. He won a Super Bowl with Foles. Like, I can't
Yeah,
imagine this
Doug
it
guy is
Marone.
not
it's hard.
some
Yeah,
Sorry.
level of quality.
it's hard
Yeah.
though because that was like such a lightning in a bottle year. Like that's like when Parcells won it with Hostetler. Like that to me is the anomaly. He's never even sniffed an AFC or NFC championship game since then.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But you
It's-
know what? Doug had that like the previous year. Yeah, this year is definitely, I think, he checked out. But the previous year, they were like, they could have made the playoffs.
yeah,
It
and
was just
Trevor got
Trevor's
hurt.
game. His game.
And listen, I'm gonna give Doug Peterson beyond credit. He beat fucking the Patriots, who were a complete dynasty. He beat them.
Yeah, I
He
know, but Peter,
outcoached Belichick.
you can only live off of that for so long. That got you
No,
another
I,
job.
I get it, jokes, but I mean that was one of the. I mean, no one thought the Eagles were beating the Patriots that year.
He outcoached him.
To be
I
fair,
think I would go all in on either Monken or the OC in Buffalo. Those would be my 2 guys if
I
I was
think
the Jets,
if I have a
no
gun to
matter
my head,
what.
I could see us taking Brady and Gaines.
I mean, that's part of the game too, right? You
wait,
might be
who's
able
the
to get
guy?
them
I'd
Who's
be
the
both.
But do
guy
you
that?
I'd be
guys
ecstatic with that.
do you
Wait,
guys
who's?
think they're actually coming to the Jets though? Stay in the division, game and
Money
Brady?
talks, brother.
I saw
Yeah,
somebody say
I,
that.
I
I don't
think
know.
it makes it less appealing, to be honest with you. Like
Yes,
if we were in the NFC South, if we were the Giants, I think
Well,
it's an easier move. Yeah, I don't
how
disagree with
long has
that.
he
Mm.
been in the OC there
that's what I'm
now
thinking.
in Buffalo?
Yeah,
How long has he been there?
but Joe Brady's been interviewing for head coaching jobs now for 2 or 3 cycles, and the
Oh,
running
okay.
thing with him is that he doesn't interview well.
Long
Oh,
as you
isn't that the
fucking
thing?
win, I don't care what
Yeah,
the interview.
but isn't
Sorry,
that the
B.
thing? It's all right. Isn't that the thing with Ben Johnson though?
No, Ben Johnson said no. Ben
Well,
John,
I don't know
that's
though. Jokes. I don't want to. I, I have to go back and listen to it, but
At this point,
Costello said he spoke to agents that said stuff about Johnson that wasn't intriguing for him to be a leader.
There's like Adam Gase vibes with Ben Johnson.
nah. That is just an easy. Go look at Ben Johnson speak. People just say that because he's a Gase understudy. I actually don't believe any of that, to be honest with you. People are also mad that he is picking his own way and being extremely picky. People don't like that. He's demanding teams what he wants, and people don't like that.
Yeah, it's a turnoff for sure.
So
Yeah,
then people are
Bill.
just
Good morning.
they're gonna pick to see what his like. He's like Adam Gase. I don't
Yeah,
know if
one
I
Well, the
sec,
believe
problem
that.
Joe.
is if you're picky and then you don't perform, then you get
Yeah.
absolutely roasted, right?
Well, 1 second here, Terrence. Augustine, I'll get to you. I know Terrence is on his way to work. I think Terrence, you got anything before you get to work or lose Wi-Fi? He just dropped. Augustine, go ahead.
Hey, good morning, guys. Happy holidays. Sorry,
You,
I haven't
you
been
too.
able to
What's going on, man?
connect. Hey, what's up? Uh, eh, I think you were also talking about, our beloved nightmare of GM Ryan Gritson. I think he interviewed with you guys.
Oh yeah, we don't want him, man.
Yeah, I mean, like, just to give you a little background on him, like, uh, he was responsible for picking Andrew Luck in 2012. However, uh, being a former offensive lineman, it baffled me that after that, he didn't do anything at all in the offensive line to protect him.
Yeah, he
So
shortened
for
Luck's career, no doubt.
yeah, he screwed him up badly, and also the Trent Richardson trade. Uh, we gave I think like maybe like two first round picks,
Yeah, that
and
was
it was a
brutal.
total boss move. Yeah,
Yeah, I don't
that
want him
like
anywhere
hinder
near
us.
the Jets, bro.
If you want to know how terrible Grigson is, why don't you go look at the picks and the drafts that he's had
Yeah, I
since
think
they've been in
Frankie
Horrible,
posted
Minnesota.
that jokes.
Yeah,
Yeah, it
horrible.
was brutal, man.
atrocious.
Yeah, it was. It was
So
maybe
just Bayer.
T.Y.
So
Hilton was a good pick though, to
And
be fair.
Augustine, to be honest with you, you, me, my 9-year-old daughter would could have picked Andrew Luck. That to me is not a
Exactly.
it's not a feather in his
yeah,
hat.
yeah.
Yeah,
No, I
exactly.
know. That's why I'm telling you. Like, okay, you had an easy job of picking the best prospect in the decade, I would say, on Andrew Luck, uh, and you just did a terrible job protecting him.
It shows you how good Luck was, right? That they had a winning record.
Yeah, and that's what
He
people
carried that team.
right, and that's what people doesn't understand because they just see like with Grison we had like several winning seasons, but that was more of the elite quarterback that we had hiding the weaknesses that our roster has.
No doubt, no doubt.
Yeah, I just hope guys you get the right guy for your um organization. Head coach White, I would recommend you. I don't know. Probably look at that defensive coordinator from Detroit Lions, man. He has been doing an awesome job with all the injuries that they had. Like, I mean, I wouldn't have believed like with your best pass rusher out for season, Aiden Hutchinson, that line would have been, still working. I know they added like Sadarius Smith, but the level went down. But still, if there's like effective
Yeah,
production.
but
And
jokes. To be fair, I think we were talking about jokes. Do you hear? Yesterday you said, I think it was you, respectfully. You said who has Aaron Glenn developed really? I don't know if you could hear me. Well, he did. Branch has developed really good. I mean, the Lions' defense is still. I mean, I know they gave up points to Buffalo, but Aaron Glenn's done a good job there.
But it's also
yeah,
more,
and
it's also limited because they're going to put points on and they're going to put points on quick.
Wait,
So what you're defending is the pass. You're not even worried about that because everybody's trying to catch up to the Ryan.
all
I
right,
mean
right.
to the Lions.
Petey.
Buffalo made them look silly.
Branch was a
Yes.
potential first
Yeah,
round pick
second. I'm just
that
saying.
fell to the
I'm just
second
being
round
technical.
because of his
Yeah.
speed, right?
Yep.
Like you do realize that everyone says about like, oh, his defense is doing okay because of all the injuries. Do you know that his defense last year was actually rated higher than it is this year?
Probably. Yeah. How about the
So
guy Anzalone? He's done really well. I know he was
Yeah,
decent in New Orleans, but
yeah, he was okay. He's a nice player.
This
yeah,
week's
and
a this
The
week's
thing
a
is,
big week, I think.
if
Jokes
you if
like
you're if no, I'm you can't change your opinion on anybody for you insert name based off of one game.
no,
You
no,
can't.
you're
You got
right.
to take the
No, you're
body of
no,
work.
you're
no, I
right.
Yeah,
understand
but
that.
So
But
wait
like
a
But
jokes
minute.
to
but
Wait
be
a minute. Think about this. Robert Sala got the notoriety. Everyone thought he was unbelievable because when he was in San Francisco, half of his defensive players were injured, and he still made the playoffs with them.
Actually, I don't know if he made the playoffs, but they were a top 8 defense.
Okay,
I would say
whatever.
Salah's a better defensive coordinator.
So
So if we're
that's
going to
the
go that
thing is
route, rehire
I
Salah.
succeed either
I
because
understand
of
that, but when
offense.
you're what sorry, Rusty. Go ahead.
He couldn't succeed anyway because of offense. It's not that we're questioning whether he can be a good defensive guy. It's that we're questioning what is he going to do about the offense because he doesn't know anything about it. That's all I'm saying. That's why I want
Yeah,
The,
an
and then this,
offensive guy.
yeah, and to be fair, as much as people killed Flores and said the defense did shitty in that game, I mean, the Vikings lost 3 games this year. That's it.
the
Nobody expected jokes, including. I remember Bills fans couldn't wait, saying, "Oh, I can't wait. We got Minnesota's second round pick, and we're going to be picking like it's almost a first round pick." So, I mean, they did a good job. He did a good job. They had a bad game.
it's easy to play, but the flip side is it's easy to call a defensive game when your
Hmm.
offense is scoring 40 points a game,
That's what I
Th-
was
35 points a
saying.
game.
that's fair.
100%.
Okay.
So when your offense is struggling and turning the ball over and you got to get down and dirty and you got to hold them, what do? It showed you nothing. He
Yeah,
couldn't
but
do
jokes.
anything.
Are we really in the position to be that picky as fans? I mean,
But why would you?
I'm not saying that towards you.
But yeah, I think you should be. I actually think you should be.
How jokes when we haven't fucking won in
But
14 years?
but
Excuse my language.
But
so
this is
what? But what's 15? What's
the
so
problem.
then? But then what's the 15 season? That's the problem. We're
We need an
looking.
offensive coordinator as a head coach.
If you're
Somebody
telling
that
me
can groom our QB
if
and our
Jokes,
offense.
you're
jokes.
telling
I
Jokes.
mean,
I
no,
don't
go
think
ahead.
that's right, man. Like, I mean,
What?
if you talking about Aaron Glenn and Brian Flores, like, if you look at what they dealt with this year, like, first of all, the Vikings defense. I don't know how many of y'all actually have looked at the Vikings roster, like their defensive side.
Yeah, they're a
Like,
bunch of no-name guys.
actually go and look. Like, they are not like it's not a good unit. Harrison
Okay,
Smith can play. He's old.
he's old.
Um, Stephon Gilmore can
Is
still
old
play.
as well.
He's old.
Yeah.
Uh, Harrison Phillips is in the middle. I think they drafted. I think they got a rookie defensive tackle or whatever.
Correct. Yes, they do.
Andrew Van Ginkel can play, but I mean, like he's a try hard guy.
Yeah,
And
he's
he's schemed.
situational and he
Yeah,
played well.
Who's their
he's
young guy?
schemed
Dallas
into the right.
Turner?
Yeah,
Dallas
Dallas Turner
Turner's
could
good.
play. Dallas
He's
Turner could play. But
yep.
Right.
their linebackers are okay. Like the rest of their secondaries okay. They're not like the,
But you don't think that. Hold on now. You don't think that it's easier to play when you're playing with the lead and you can formulate. You know that he lives and dies by the blitz. It's easier for you to blitz when you're up by 10,
Yep.
13. It's
bro.
I'm not disagreeing with
I
what
hear you, jokes.
I'm not
We
disagreeing that he
can't just look at this year as a microcosm of his coaching career. When he was in Miami, they were putting together 500 seasons with Tua and Devontae Parker, bro. I I can't even remember the
but
running
whose
backs they
fault is
had.
that though?
I'm listen. All I'm saying is we can't look at his coaching career and say his defense is only good because they're playing with the lead, bro. When they was in Miami, they were holding teams. They were holding teams and keeping that team in games,
Okay,
winning games because of the defense and
but
timely
who
scores.
but his defenses were stacked when he was in Miami. They were a lot better than
No,
what they are now. Oh yeah, they
Who
were.
I
no,
I
stack
think
stack with who?
no, no.
They had
It was not stacked.
they
Stack
had
with
What
who?
years
Christian
was
Will
he
they
in
here's
had
Miami?
they had
here's my
Christian Wilkinson. They had
Christian Wilkins came in. Listen,
Minka
Christian
Fitzpatrick.
Wilkins came in 2019. Minka Fitzpatrick didn't play for the. He got traded. He got
He got
traded.
traded after. He got traded afterwards. He was there 2 out of the 3 years.
No, no, no,
No,
no,
he
no, no,
wasn't. He
no,
was
no,
there
no, no,
one
no,
year.
no, 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 no.
I don't
Jokes,
know
you
about
wrong.
that.
Yeah, if you remember what I keep saying about him is when he first came there, he said, "Who doesn't want to be on this
Yeah,
team?"
yeah.
And he got rid of Mingus Fitzpatrick and Landry.
Whittle,
He
let
didn't.
me ask you something real quick. June, good point. Whittle, to be fair, all bias aside, who do you think the Jets should hire? Like, for
For what?
real.
For coach?
For the coach, yeah.
No bias aside, bro. I really feel like most of your talent.
is on the defensive side, I would get a defensive coach. I would maximize that side, and even if it's a young coach or a coach that doesn't have a ton of experience, I would prioritize overspending on an older, established offensive mind. Like if there's another Todd Monken running around the college ranks or the NFL, I would go get him and get a defensive coach that can that and the reason why I say get it, I would if it was me and I was a Jets fan and they hire Aaron Glenn, I would think that's the right move because I feel like Aaron Glenn's going to get the most out of Sauce. I think he's going to get the absolute best out of Sauce, and whatever corner you draft after this, he's going to get the absolute best out of that secondary. The absolute best. You already have your linebackers for the future set. Like Sherwood and Quincy Williams are good. You have talent on the line. He's going to make those guys like he's doing in Minnesota, like he's doing right now in Detroit. He's making those guys better by putting them in great situations with timely blitzes, with coverage schemes in the back end. But he's going to get like y'all have been trying to get a safety, like a safety duo to play well for years. For
Let me,
years,
but let me
I
ask
would
you a
I would
question, Witt.
I
We've
would
been
go with
trying to
that.
get an offense for
But
20
Witt,
years.
let me ask you a question. I'm gonna
You can't
flip
get
it
an
back on
offense,
you
like
now.
it's hard to get an offense when you don't have an offensive line and the quarterback. If you can't
Right.
You can't if you
Exactly.
can't get those two things, but that's not a coaching thing. Like
No,
Sean McDermott gets zero credit from Bills Mafia for the offensive line being what it is right now. We all give the credit to the line coach and the GM. Like the GM got Osiris Torrance at 59. I didn't even know that motherfucker was still on the board. I was surprised. Cedric Van Grange out of Georgia. Got him in the fourth round late. I had no
But
idea he was
Whittle,
still on the board.
let me ask you a question. You now this if Joe Brady leaves, you're gonna be on your third offensive coordinator in 4 years, right?
Right.
If you didn't have a
Not so.
fucking unicorn at quarterback,
Yep.
how do you think you guys would be like? You guys would be fucked.
I
Like, let's
I
call it what
mean,
it is.
if we didn't have, let's say we didn't have Josh Allen and had Dak Prescott, we wouldn't win 12 games, or we wouldn't average 12 games a year. We probably
You
average 10 or 9.
you can weather the storm, and you can have the like if you get the defensive coach, right? And you had Dable, a guy who was around for a long time, who's been in college, who's been in the NFL. You can groom him if you hit like you guys did and draft a fucking unicorn. You can go out there and call for offensive plays, and that
yeah.
guy will drag you to 9 wins.
That's
But the
not
So
true,
odds,
man. That's
the
not true.
odds, the
I
odds
think
are,
That's not
the
true,
That
odds
bro.
is.
are,
That's
but
not
the
true,
odds
bro.
are, if you don't find a unicorn, right, which is a damn hard thing. Listen, Lamar Jackson, another unicorn. He was able to weather how many offensive coordinators? But they finally found one now,
right.
and
He's
now
only had
and
two, buddy.
I think
We had Greg Roman and Todd Monken. That's
Yeah,
it.
that's what I'm
And
saying.
okay.
Teddy
Like,
Newton was
yo,
hurt for
I
two
think
yo,
years
I
also.
think the
yeah,
carrot
yo,
Lamar
is
was
I
hurt.
understand the premise of what you say. I understand the premise of your argument. I just don't think it's completely accurate. Like I don't think that you need to have an off like it helps. Yes, it does. An offensive coordinator does help. But I mean, let's be clear, dog. Miami this year, Tennessee, Indianapolis. Oh, well, not Tennessee, but Miami for sure. Indianapolis. Um, Off the top of
Well,
my head, that's all I can come up with right now. But
Indy
nope,
failed because they went with a quarterback that should have never
the
been
top
drafted.
no,
the
no. The
top
point, the point that
coaches
I'm
were
trying to make
offensive
is the
coordinators.
point that I'm trying to make is, um, we didn't win the Indy game because of Josh Allen. We didn't win the Miami game, the first Miami game, because of Josh Allen. I mean, to be honest, we didn't really win the second Miami game because of Josh Allen either. It really was the defense and the run game that got us through all of those games. Like the three games that I mentioned, That's 3 wins. We won 13 games. Those are 3 W's based on
I think
purely off the
you
running
don't think
game,
it,
offensive
but you
line.
don't,
Bro, I'm telling you, Josh Allen. Josh Allen was a spectator against Miami the first game.
but you don't think the threat of Josh Allen opens up running lanes for the running back?
Sure.
Um,
No.
it,
What do you mean? No, you don't think
I
that
don't
Lamar
know. I
No,
Jackson
mean,
because they
opens up
No,
don't.
running games?
no,
not
That's
really.
not their
Not
Lamar.
running
really.
Did you see
Like
the
style.
lanes that
They
were
run
opened up for
different run
Lamar?
no.
patterns than
This
that. They're
year,
Lamar
not
looked
this
pretty good
year,
RPOs
last
that
no.
week.
Tom would call.
This year, no. Early part of the season,
No.
no, because they weren't running him. Like it was
wait,
clear
what was the
they
question? I'm
didn't run him.
sorry, jokes.
They didn't run him a
The
ton last year, and towards the end of the year until the playoffs started, and they weren't running him this year. So I mean, he
They're
had
going to
plenty of
run him in the
opportunities to
playoffs.
take off and run. They're gonna run his ass in the playoffs for sure. That's for sure. But
Here's my thing. The carrot is the head coaching position. You need. I think we need offense, and you can get a D coordinator. That's what I think. We got to groom a quarterback. I look at Andy Reid. I look at Peyton. I look at Harbaugh. They're in command. They're running the offense. We don't have a clue. Our offense is so antiquated, and we have no solutions. That's why
Yeah.
wait, wait.
if you're going to offer,
Harbaugh's not an
if you want to
offensive
get,
guy. Harbaugh's not an
if
offensive guy.
if you want to
Special
bring,
teams.
if
Yeah,
you
he's
want to
special
Let's
bring
teams.
in,
see.
I'm talking about
And Greg
in
Roman runs
Michigan.
the
I mean,
Chargers.
Oh yeah,
the Chargers,
the
the
Chargers
Chargers.
guy,
I'm
right.
It's
talking about
Greg
the
Roman's
Chargers.
offense, bro.
All right,
He's one of the
guys,
best
one
offensive
second.
coordinators.
Let me get
Even though they
But
suck.
guys,
you're
real
going to
quick.
attract
Hector,
somebody with
one
the head
second, right?
coaching. Sure.
Yeah, Hector, one second. I have Will Parkinson in here.
Yep.
Will, good morning. How are you, Will? Thanks for joining.
What's up? What's
We
up, man? How you doing?
It's good. We're kind of Will. I haven't talked to you since the season's ended. I'm really down and depressed. I don't think the Jets are going to get this right. Can you give me some hope on what you
no,
think's going to happen?
I mean, I still,
don't lie to him, Will.
I'm not, I'm not. I think there's definitely candidates that are still. I don't. I mean, look, the Arthur Smith thing and the Gregson thing are the two things that I would give like serious. I would understand being bummed out. Arthur Smith's at best a middling offensive coordinator, and as a head coach was a below average coach that is just a nepo baby. So I'm good on that one. Ryan Grigson's one of the worst GMs in NFL history. I'm good. They're interviewing solid candidates, and from a GM perspective, there's some interesting names. From head coach, there's some interesting names, but they're certainly going with the no stone unturned thing, which is great. You know, it's a nice idea, and I think in a lot of ways it's a good way to approach it. Right? They've gotten it wrong 4 straight hires or 3 straight hires. Like, do whatever you got to do to get it right. I get that, but I feel a little bit right now, and I don't know if this makes any sense, but bear with the example. There's somebody that kind of has gotten scarred by like multiple ex-girlfriends in a row or multiple ex-boyfriends, whatever you're into, and they're like finding a reason. It almost feels like with every candidate why they're not a perfect fit, instead of like, I don't know. It just doesn't it feel like that. It feels like they're like looking for this person that's going to be 10 out of 10 and check every single box and every single like the perfect lawyer, accountant, team building scout guy. And it's like, listen, there's no perfect candidate. Same thing with head coach. Like, you're not going to find an innovative offensive mind that's also an elite defensive play caller and culture builder. They don't exist. So I think they need to do a little bit more of narrowing this thing down and digging in on 5 or 6 candidates on both sides, as opposed to just interviewing 800 people. Head coach doesn't bother me as much right now because they can't really talk to anybody relevant anyways at the moment. So I get it, but GM wise, narrow it down, have everybody in the building, second conversation. It's impossible for anybody to win the room over Zoom. Anyone that works remote knows that. It's like a very different conversation over Zoom as opposed to in person. So I wouldn't worry yet, but there's certainly some names they've spoken to that make you want to pull your hair out.
Will, ultimately, who do you think it's going to be? Because I had Costello on yesterday. He said he thinks
Yeah,
it's going to be Nagy and Bergonzi.
I mean, I don't think Nagy gets the job, but you know, I hope it's Borgonzi. I think he's the best candidate of any GM on the market. Interviewing, I think it would be a huge coup for the Jets to be able to land him. I'll stick with what I predicted with Rich yesterday and say it's Glenn and Borgonzi. I think that'd be a very respectable hire on both sides. I'll stick with it, but Glenn's wanted elsewhere, and so is Borgonzi. So again, as much as I'm not saying that they're both perfect. Again, there's no perfect candidate, but if those are your guys, and it seems like Glenn's the favorite from a head coach perspective, and Borgonzi's the name that it seems like would be the most well received, go get your guy. Whether it's a 6-year deal from a GM perspective, whether it's a head coach perspective, being able to bring in, having the proper budget from a staff perspective to really go get a reputable offensive line coach, a reputable offensive coordinator, things like that. If that's what it comes down to, you got to be willing to spend the money. And, it's not always just about acquiring players. I think that's something that, Woody does a great job. He spends a lot of money on the roster every year. They're top 5 in cash spend all the time. That's not really the issue. They cut the budget last year in the front office, and it doesn't help going into an offseason where your number 2 and number 3 leave or are fired, and you don't replace them. So if I'd like to, and they have a smaller coaching staff than most teams in the league. So I'd like to see them go with Glenn and Borgonzi. I think are probably the best candidates. I would be interested in Joe Brady. Flores is fine. I think he'd probably be 3 for me. McCown's interesting. Other than that, there's no one on the head coaching front that really wows you, I don't think. At least at the guys that they've spoken to. Look, I think, I'd like to see them talk to McCarthy. I know people are going to be like, oh, dude, he's so annoying, blah, blah. Well, they're talking to Arthur fucking Smith. So I'd rather talk to a Super Bowl winning head coach that's a 61, 62% winning percentage over 18 years than talk to Arthur Smith, who was 7-10, 7-10, 7-10, and got fired. So, yeah, that's kind of where I'm at, Petey. I think John Eric Sullivan from Green Bay is another name that really interests me. Those are the 2 for GM, and I would say Glenn and Joe Brady are the top 2 for me for head coach. Knowing the Jets, they'll probably get another 4.
Will,
Can I ask Will a question?
Go ahead, Whittle.
Okay, great. Will, who do you have for the Bills-Ravens game this weekend?
Who do I have? I have right now. I still lean Ravens slightly.
Perfect. Thank you.
They get up.
All right, appreciate it.
If they get up early, no problem. If they get up early, I think the Bills are when they get up on you. And I don't mean this in a bad way. It's actually a compliment. They're the best front running team in football. Very similar to any basketball fans, the Warriors in that dynasty run, where if you don't keep it close early and you let them start kind of just you let Josh Allen kind of get comfortable and you let them be able to get the running game and passing game going, you're quite literally not going to stop them from scoring. So Baltimore is going to have to run the football really well, and Lamar is going to have to be pretty awesome. So I think it'll be really close. Obviously, I know that's not really a fun prediction, but I would lean Ravens slightly because the running game is so dynamic, and the one thing the Bills aren't elite at is stopping the run. But like I said, if there's an early 3-and-out for Baltimore and Buffalo starts up 14-0 or something like that, I have a hard time seeing Buffalo losing.
Who's under the most pressure in this game? Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Harbaugh, McDermott. Who's under the most pressure for this game?
For me, it's Lamar. There's a good argument he's going to be a 3-time MVP, and another playoff loss to a guy that is kind of his, another elite counterpart in that sense. He'll have lost to Buffalo twice now, or lost to Josh twice. He's obviously lost to Mahomes. He's lost to Ryan Tannehill and Phillip Rivers and stuff like that. I would say just the Bills have had big playoff wins. They've obviously not gotten far enough. I'm not trying to make it seem like Josh's numbers in the playoffs are pretty special. Lamar's played well at times, but he's also struggled at times. So if you're a 3-time MVP and you've not gotten, the one time you get to the conference title game was as the 1 seed and you lost at home, it's going to be just it'll be a tough offseason for Lamar of people are going to stop caring about the regular season. And I think they already reached that point this year. I think he's an incredibly special player. He's a Hall of Fame level quarterback. It feels like if he loses this game again to Josh Allen, it's you kind of, I don't know. It's just a hard conversation. It's unfortunately what it comes down
He
to now.
never lost to Josh Allen, with all due respect. Don't say that. He never lost to Josh Allen, dude.
He didn't lose to Josh Allen in the playoffs on the road, and he threw a horrible pick. And then I mean, did that not happen during COVID?
Lamar
Yeah.
Jackson.
Yeah, did that not happen?
All right, well then I'm super sorry. I
No,
am
you're good.
very
I was
sorry.
like, I thought I was
I
honestly
did not remember
total.
that. I
No, you're
apologize.
good. You're good. I just was like, wait, did I
I'm a little
misremember? I was,
edgy because he's my guy. I'm a
yeah.
Baltimore guy. I apologize. I'm
Nah,
glad I
you're
didn't
good.
He,
I
he,
thought
he
I like
lost.
listen.
myself.
He
I
lost
I
multiple
couldn't be
times
higher
to
on
Josh.
Lamar.
He's lost
I
multiple
just think
times
there's more.
to Josh. Not, it hasn't been just that. It wasn't just that playoff game. It was also the game in Baltimore. Um, it was 2023. They were up 20-3 in the second in the third quarter, and the Bills came back and won that game. Yeah, I would agree with you, Will. I
That
think
would suck too.
I would agree that Lamar's under more pressure than anybody else. I
I
think
was gonna say
Lamar and
when you
Sean
say it's
McDermott.
Lamar, when you say Lamar, but then McDermott's too, it almost is like a weird like Harbaugh's not going to go anywhere. But if the Bills lose another divisional round game, don't you feel like it's kind of similar to Lamar on the coaching scale, where like one's
I,
Lamar, two's
I
McDermott, then three's Josh?
I don't know if McDermott really is under a ton of a ton of inside pressure
Internal, yeah,
versus
more externally at least.
it's
Yeah,
external. Yeah, but I mean, again,
He's
when
still
when you
ascending.
when
It
you
doesn't matter
when
for
you
him.
when you don't look at this from the microcosm of the last 6 weeks or 2 months and look at it from the off season and what this Bills team was supposed to do and supposed to you said it yourself, well, we were going to finish third in the division.
Yeah,
So I mean it was
I
a
thought
ton
they'd
of
be
people,
I thought they'd be
a
a
500
playoff
team.
team, like a yeah playoff team. I thought they'd
Yeah.
be like a wild card, but Denver
And that's
ended
no
up being.
shot and that's no shot at you. That's no shot at
No, I
well
think
maybe a little
it's
one,
very
but
it was a
at the
very
end of
stupidly
listen,
common opinion.
I'm just 9 or
Did we
10
lose him?
games and
Oh, there he is.
all these different things. But when you look at like how much more help can you get Lamar? Like you have two receivers drafted in the first round in Bateman and Flowers. You have a top 5 to 7 offensive line by every offensive line metric known in the galaxy. They're a top 7 offensive line in pass blocking and in run blocking. You have a 1,900-yard rusher. You have the best defense in football over the last month and a half month. You've had a top rushing
I
defense
mean, we have
in the
no
league all
excuses,
year.
Bruce. I promise you. We have
That's the
no
thing.
excuses, brother.
Yeah,
We
like
are where you
if
say
this
we stand, brother. There's
What's
if
the
no
the
line?
denying
What's
that.
the
Ravens
wait?
don't
Wait, wait,
win
wait.
this
What's this?
game,
What's the line on this game?
the
Best way to
Three,
put
Ravens
it all.
the
two.
Ravens are favored.
I'm going to be
The
furious if we
Ravens are
lose, to
Wow.
be
favored.
honest with you.
The Ravens are favored on the road by 1.5. Bro, I like if the Ravens don't win this game, it's time to have some uncomfortable conversations about Lamar Jackson and Jim Harbaugh.
Yeah,
Just
I
I
it.
will
think
absolutely talk that talk that day.
I would say like both guys are under immense pressure just because their ring culture that sports is now. Like it's the end of the day, both guys are going to be top two in MVP voting. They're probably going to be in the top three every year. It's going to be obviously there's other guys, but like Josh, Josh Lamar, Pat, and Joe are going to be in the top four pretty much if healthy every year. So you know, these guys are going to be judged on a different standard. And, the same way Joe Burrow caught a ton of heat for them, losing games, even if it's the end of the day, like the way the NFL works. And I honestly hate this culture of like every quarterback's the GOAT or the WOAT every single week. It's honestly so fucking annoying to listen to. Like now Justin Herbert's a terrible football player because the entire Chargers choked. Like he's not a terrible football player, but he deserves criticism for playing the way he did. Like there's both things could be true. Sam Darnold's regular season all of a sudden was terrible, and he's the worst player ever because he had a bad night on Monday night. Like that's just not the reality of life. But I can guarantee you that Monday morning, people will tune into their favorite debate shows with people who have no qualifications to talk about sports, and will Josh could throw for 500 yards and 5 touchdowns. Same with Lamar, and if they lose, they're going to catch heat. That's just the reality of it. And as much as I hate it, like that's why there's so much pressure on both these guys because unless they literally are 40 for 40 for 800 yards and 20 touchdowns and lose, they're going to catch heat. And like Lamar, it's not having the one costly mistake, and I think for Josh, it's not having one or two of those sugar rush kind of moments. Kyle Brandt used to say it all the time, like sugar high Josh Allen, like the one or two moments where you're like, dude, just take the sack or just throw the ball out of bounds and stuff like that. But this game should be awesome. Both these guys are incredible quarterbacks. These teams are both very good. I just hope we get an insane game just because, listen, like, I love the NFL more than, just as much as anybody, but these games mostly kind of sucked. So
They were
I hope we
awful
get
this weekend, Will.
I hope we get more of the Bucks Commanders game than we got, some of these other games.
Will, let me ask you something before. There's a couple of Bills fans in here too, and Will, thanks for joining, man. It's good to hear from you.
Of
Will,
course.
I'm sorry. I'm trying to not stay on this hill, but I'm one of the people that wouldn't mind if Aaron Rodgers is back.
Yeah.
Would you do you want him back, or what's your
It's
thoughts on this?
I just think there's a lot of stipulations in which people think I'm like hating on Rodgers recently. It's not even about hating on him. It's that, like, I just think that the things that would make it like easily tolerable for him to be back just aren't realistic. Like, I don't see Rodgers is really going to take another pay cut. I mean, again, maybe, but I think that's more optimistic. I think he knows how to say some of the right things, and I don't know. I guess if you had the right coach, I'd be open to it. It just kind of stinks because it's not. I don't even. It's not even about entirely the money perspective of it. It's more of that, like, it's like you can't really get out of it unless he takes a pay cut, and even then, it's still you're still getting kind of screwed. So I'd almost rather just at this point, like, I really truly think he's going to retire. I just felt like he got closure at the end there. He's going to be able to say, like, hey, I could still play. At 40 plus years old off a torn Achilles, I still threw for 28 touchdowns, 3,500 yards, and like played all 17. Like, I don't know. I think that stuff matters, and I just like it's maybe he goes to Pittsburgh, maybe New Orleans, something like that. I could see, but I just don't, I think the ship kind of sailed with the Jets, and it's not that I don't think that I get it. Like, their other options kind of pretty brutal. And he's probably the best on paper guy, but from a chemistry perspective, it's not even that Rodgers is like some bad chemistry guy. But look, I don't know. It's hard to tell with the Garrett and Garrett's usage, and I know people are going to point to the targets, and I get it. But like useful targets, like I just feel like at times it got stale at the end, and I don't know. I kind of go back and forth. It probably just feels like I'm trying to like guard for myself against the reality of getting the Jets are going to be releasing Aaron Rodgers with intent to retire or whatever it is. That kind of just feels like the most likely scenario.
Yep.
But again, I don't think you're wrong for wanting him back. I just don't think it's. I think it's more like a 15% chance at this point when maybe pre pre Bills pre Bills game maybe it was more like 25-30. I just feel like that game went so poorly and it kind of felt like they all kind of just checked out and were done. And
Yeah.
I don't know, it's hard to come back from that type of stuff.
Yeah, but Will, to that point though, you recall when they acquired Devontae Adams, and then I think Jason came out with the restructure of Adams. Everybody was glowing like, "Oh, this is a 2-year plan now. Rodgers is going to be back," and this was at 2-6.
I know. I was one of those people. It felt like, I mean, look, they redid his deal. They redid Devontae's deal, and looking back at it, that was moronic. They're just going to end up eating $8 million this year for no reason.
And a
When
third round pick. It's a
yeah, but I don't
disgrace.
even. I know it sounds stupid, but I don't even care about the pick in the sense of like it was a worthwhile risk. It was like they didn't have to redo the deal also, and they ended up redoing the deal. It just felt like they were operating this year, unfortunately, from a perspective of Salah and Douglas. Salah had no interest in being there. It was pretty obvious. You watch from the sideline, the dude couldn't have given less of a shit of what was going on. Cared more about texting his media buddies. And, from a Douglas perspective, he kind of operated as if, like, who cares? I probably won't be here next year. And there's just the Reddick move, and some of these other moves. It's like Rodgers wasn't a bad move. It made sense. Any Bills fan, Dolphins fan, or Patriots fan would tell you if they had a true serum that the Jets were a lot more scary with this roster, with Aaron Rodgers and the potential of what it could be, than Derek Carr. Like no one's gonna tell you that they weren't like, wow, like they might be good. I don't know if it'll work, but if it does, they're gonna be scary. It was worth it. It's just some of the other moves really just make you scratch your head a little bit.
Yep. June, do you have anything for Will before we get to the hands? Are you here?
Yeah, yeah, I'm here. What's going on, Will?
What's up, man? How you doing?
Ah, man, I'm doing wonderful. You know, I'm the only Jet fan that is kind of happy right now.
Yeah, I'm. Look, I'm like pleasant. I'm always going to be optimistic because there's a chance that I think anyone when you kind of starting over in a lot of senses with head coach and GM, it's a chance to kind of do it the right way. It's more of just like every time you convince yourself or that you hear something good about certain candidates or you hear some kind of buzz and things like that, it's like they go and interview guys that you're like, why are you interviewing this person? But at the end of the day, that happens every process. The Jets are just elongating it.
Now, look, I know you're uneasy with the Nagy thing, but let me ask you this question: If they were to get Berganzi, uh, 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 um, Nagy, and say he was to bring in Doug Peterson, OC, would you feel better?
Yeah, I don't think that it's unfortunate. I don't know if this example makes sense or this kind of idea makes sense to you, but like I feel like Nagy deserves another shot at being a head coach.
Me too.
But I just don't know if the Jets are the team for it. I feel like, and again, I know we overuse CEO and culture builder and stuff like that. I just truly feel like there's always a right time, right place for guys getting different jobs. And hey, maybe I don't know. Obviously, Adam Gase was horrible, but just like for example, maybe Adam Gase could have been better in a different situation where there wasn't the pressure of New York and these different things. I truly feel like is Matt Nagy going to be able to like galvanize an organization? Like Rich Tamini said this on my pod the other day, and I truly believe that he's like, this isn't a normal NFL job. There's certain jobs where it takes like a special person, and I just have questions if like, is he that guy? Maybe he is, and maybe we'll all be like, wow, that was a good hire. But it just feels like, is he that guy? Like, if you're a different team playing the Jets, are you worried playing against a specific head coach? I always do like, if you ever do like the test for yourself, like if the Patriots or the Bills or the Dolphins or someone made the same hire, what would your reaction be? If the reaction is I'd make fun of them, it's probably probably not a good hire to talk yourself into.
Okay, and look, my last question. Well, yeah, yeah, it is a question. I'm trying to taper my good friend Petey's expectations on next year's season. Would you say the Jets compete next year, or the Jets will be about evaluation of the roster next year? Which one will it be?
I think it'll be a mixture of both. I think the roster, I think it'll be more of a valuation of a quarterback. I think the expectations there are probably going to be limited, obviously, unless something changes. But I think this roster is every bit a chance to compete, especially if they're coached well, especially if they're able to make, some certain like playing, getting Jermaine Johnson to be able to play again instead of Hassan Reddick is like instantly like at least worth a win, just based on how bad Reddick is, right? Or like, you know, can they figure out the special teams and kicking game and some of these late game decisions? I'm not kind of glorify you and blow smoke up your ass. They're going to win 14 games next year, but at the same time, and they have the NFL record for most fourth quarter leads and blown leads in a game in NFL history. Like you would think, even if half that changes, plus a little bit of an improvement, there may be a 9-win team that's a frisky, like you don't really want to play them, and then they take a leap in 26. That's probably more of the. I think like next year, depending on what happens with coach and GM, and obviously the whole offseason, you're probably looking at a team that is in the playoff picture throughout the entire year. Can they get in as the 6 or the 7 seed? Is probably the most realistic. Can they be Denver this year, where they showed a lot of improvement? You're excited about Denver's future, but they probably aren't ready to compete with the elite yet. That's probably what I think next year looks like.
Will, you just made. I could hear Petey smiling through the phone. That's crazy.
Well, yeah, I am because I go to all the games, and I'm not saying that I'm this heroic guy for doing it. It's just all I know. I'm sorry, I don't want to go to games and expect 3-14 next year. I'm sorry, I'm not doing that as a
I
fan. I
I
don't
agree,
give a
man. I
shit.
agree, man. I don't think anybody. I don't think it's like at the end of the day, fans want to watch winning. Like it's as simple as that. Like, and the at least illusion that you're going to try to compete, and you hope amongst hope. Whoever comes in, look, whoever's coming in is going to know, even if they have a year to have some patience and stuff like that, and they will, right? But it's also New York, and look at the difference. I would use this example, and you tell me if I'm like why. If someone coach comes in, right? Brian Daboll came in with Joe Shane, who I don't think are anything anything special, right, by any means. But those guys came in, made the playoffs year one, frisky 9-win team, not a good team at all, for sure. But they won the fan base over, and they bought themselves at least 24 months. Salah came in, as an example, won 4 games and got blown out a lot. And you were like, I'm not really that excited about the coach because I didn't really see that much of a difference. And, obviously they made the leap in year two and people got more excited about it, a couple wins and good start, obviously. But you got to show something year one, whether it's, making the playoffs, whether it's, hey, this team, like, they lost a bunch of close games, but man, like, they're one or two guys away. And if they can transition half those blown loss, like, that's what I'm looking for, like, competitive football next year, close games, being in every single game, being a team that people don't want to play. Like, that's the stuff you're looking for, especially in a year one thing. Like, the getting blown out or getting, being a laughing stock in terms of, oh, they didn't know what to do on this player. That stuff cannot happen under the next regime, and I don't think it will. I'm just saying, like, that's the type of stuff you can't have happen.
Good. Thanks, Will. I'll get
Yo,
back to you. Jarek, go ahead. What's up? Good guy. Give me a second, man.
what
Jarek, go ahead.
what's going on, Will? I just wanted to talk about just kind of give some scenarios, or at least maybe focus a little bit more on the college side of things. So let's just say, for perfect example, if maybe you get that offensive coach, maybe you get a Joe Brady um, to be your head coach. Let's just per se. What do you think about guys like maybe like Pete Kwiatkowski, defensive coordinator from Texas, or maybe even a coach like I'm sorry, give me 1 second. I forgot what his name is. Yeah, I'm sorry. Glenn Schumann, Jim Knowles, or even like a Wink Martindale, who guys that have NFL, like former NFL experience, were able to be
Yeah.
successful on both levels. Do you think that their games can translate to the NFL just based off of their experience?
Yeah, I mean, I think obviously, everyone's kind of familiar with Wink and some of these different things. I think no matter what the Jets do from a head coach perspective, having veterans on the staff that have done it, not saying that you need to have, like, I just used the Lions as an example, right? I think, they've kind of gone a unique approach of they had a lot of guys that were inexperienced, but they had a lot of former players. They had a lot of former, um, scouts, and the front office was built of guys that had never done it before and guys that had done it 2, 3, 4 times. It's finding a good balance. And if the Jets were to hire, let's say they were to hire Joe Brady, right? That's a good example. I know the name's not going to excite people, but hiring a Ron Rivera as your assistant head coach, defensive coordinator, that's like, hey, I've coached 150 plus games as a head coach in the NFL. I've made it to a Super Bowl. I'm probably not ready to be a head coach anymore, but I certainly can show you the ropes. And I've worked in big markets and I've done these different things. I think people, look at Sean McVay when he was out in LA year one, and I believe year two, had Wade Phillips, Wade Phillips wasn't going to excite you as a head coach, but he was a damn good defensive coordinator and was like, hey, Sean, this is how you approach. This is how I used to schedule things. This is how I used to build in my media time. This is how I worked with this type of ownership. So to your point, especially if they go with a younger offensive guy, Brady, McCown, whoever it is that's never been a head coach before, having a strong defensive guy that's experienced and has seen it all can kind of take some of that off your plate. If people that the Jets staff when Salah got here, no one had experience as even a coordinator, let alone a head coach. So you can't really. I don't think you can survive like that in today's NFL. There's too many variables, especially in these big markets. So yeah, I agree with you. I agree with the premise you're kind of looking at.
Good, good,
Yo,
good, good guy.
uh,
What's up?
hey, Will. So, say that Glenn is the head coach, right? That the Jets bring in. Who would you like to see as an OC, as a
offensive lines coach? Because we've had issues in the past. Like we're bringing in Keith, and and prior to that, like the O line coach has always been like an issue.
Yeah,
But who would you like to see them bring in as OC, DC, O line coach? Because those
yeah.
to me, I think those are the more
Those are
important.
crucial hires. No, they're crucial hires. You're not wrong. Look, I think a couple names. I was looking kind of through some of the Lions staff and just guys that potentially, there's obviously a lot of names Jets fans and A fans would be familiar with. Hank Fraley, who's their offensive line coach, obviously kind of an architect, one of the best offensive lines in football. He's their run game coordinator as well. He interviewed for the Seahawks job, offensive coordinator job last week. He's somebody I'd like to see. Hey, could the Jets poach him? Right? It's really hard to poach offensive line coaches in the league in general. And if you could poach one of the best ones, and he can reestablish a culture and a tenacity and stuff on the offensive side of the football, that's something you'd like to see. A name Jets fans would be familiar with is Mark Brunell. I know it's going to be like, hey, he's a first-time play caller. He's been a QB coach with the Lions for the last 4 years. Obviously, he's mentored QBs in the past. I know people talk about Josh McCown, and I get the excitement. I totally do. Brunell's been doing what Josh has been doing for longer, and he did it with Jared Goff. And Ben Johnson gets 99.9% of the credit, which is to be expected. But he's surrounded by a lot of big personalities. Him, and then JT Barrett's another one I tweeted about. Every year down in Mobile and in Indy, you hear really great things about JT Barrett. Obviously, quarterback at Ohio State, has been their assistant quarterback coach. So someone that can relate to players, obviously, someone that's played the position at a high level. Those are just some names from the Lions staff. There's others. It's hard with Aaron Glenn in the sense of who could he pull from the Lions. The way he's talked about by players, you'd assume he'd be able to have, and coaches, you'd assume he'd be able to have some pull. And I think it also matters if Ben Johnson gets a job or not. How many guys leave the staff. Obviously, not every single person's going to leave from the Lions staff. So those are just some names to kind of keep in the back of your mind. I've seen John Morton floated. I'd pass personally.
He's not hiking, Will.
No, I understand he's kind of got back into football, and that's great after taking a long time off, and then with the Jets, and then taking time off again. I don't know that he was the easiest person to work for or play for. I think that there's more a fresher face. Um, you know, Again, but if you were to hire, let's just use Mark Brunell as the example. Let's say the Jets were like, hey, he played here, he knows the market, he played quarterback obviously at a high level for a very long time. He's helped develop, redevelop Jared Goff and all X, Y, and Z, right? Like we're gonna be that Lions culture. Brunell's gonna be ROC. Bringing in a veteran name to kind of help him, a veteran assistant, would be really ideal. Again, these are things that I don't think are complicated, and I don't think people are like, wow, like great point, dude. But it's like they do matter in a sense of these jobs are really hard. Like point blank, they just are. And being able to blend experience with upside would be crucial for the Jets and for any team obviously hiring people. But same goes for Ben Johnson. Ben Johnson gets the Raiders job. Better hope he is a really good communicator and strong defensive coordinator because otherwise I don't see it working. So, just in general, I'd like to see the Jets, maybe take some people from the Lions staff. Could you poach one or two people from, the Sean Payton tree? Unfortunately, Sean Payton's tree is pretty ass. But, generally speaking, that's probably what my thought process would be if I was Aaron Glenn.
Yep. Benny, go ahead.
Yeah, I got like
What's going
five. I
on,
got
Will?
like 5-6 minutes. What's up, Benny? How
No
you doing?
problem, Will. Thank you. All right. I was just
Yeah,
going
of
to ask,
course.
can you take two
Yeah,
more?
no, like 5-6 minutes if that's okay.
You got it. 9:20. You're good. Thanks.
Yeah, Benny, you're good.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna be quick, bro. I agree with everything you're saying. I do think Glenn is the likely hire, in my
Yeah,
opinion. Uh, but I am a little worried because what you said, bro, is you said it perfectly. The same results of kind of what happened with Robert Saleh, like year one, a lot of blowouts. You're not really competing, and obviously you win 4 games next year. There's gonna be a portion of the fan base is ready to call for your head already. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? So we do need to show something year one. And obviously, I don't think Rodgers is going to come back. So if you do get a Glenn and whoever, say it is Brunel as your OC, like who do you project being the quarterback?
Yeah.
Like, is it a mix of Tyrod Taylor and Jordan Travis, or is it
Um,
just or
Fields
something like
Fields
that?
feels like one of those names that just kind of feels like it makes sense. And like a hey, can you catch? can you catch the lightning in the bottle, Darnold, Baker, Geno type of thing where, highly touted prospect has issues. Can you cover some of them up? Can you try to basically cut the field in half for Justin Fields, and he takes a lot of sacks and takes a ton of pressures, but super athletic and he was productive with Pittsburgh, right? I would argue they were a better team when Justin Fields was on the field. Now, does that mean that Justin Fields is going to take the Jets to 15 wins next year and be a playoff team? I can't tell you that much, but hey, can him and Tyrod go at it? The draft, can you draft a Riley Leonard or Jackson Dart or somebody and have 4 quarterbacks in camp? And hey, can we get 1.5 good players out of this? Like, I'm not saying it's exciting and perfect, but can you be competitive in year one? Can you win 8 to 10 games or 8 to 9 games, whatever, somewhere in that range at least, be competitive with that kind of quarterback play? Because you've seen it. It's not like that's some like huge ass. The Broncos just won 10 games with Bo Nix. Like, we obviously saw the Steelers. Objectively, the Steelers have less talent than the Jets do. And I know Mike Tomlin's an awesome coach, so I'm not saying the Jets need to be the Steelers. But point being, like with Russell Wilson's corpse, they won 10 games or 11 games, whatever. So can you be competitive in year one? Can you show promise? Can you show the fan base, hey, get this guy a couple more dudes? And I feel the culture shifting. Like, there's a different vibe around the building. And, can you prove to the players, hey, it's going to be different? And that's kind of honestly the most important thing. I just don't know that the Jets have had that in a while where it's like, hey, this is truly going to be different. It's not going to be lightning in a bottle. Like, Aaron Glenn's like, can he, if he's the hire, can he preach to them like, hey man, like, listen, like, I've literally done this everywhere I've been. I've been a Jet and I've watched the culture flip. Like just trust me. And like, if they can have a true buy-in, that to me would be a sign of progress in year one. Anything more than that would be obviously awesome. But just not having it feel like the same, like, can you feel like, can there be a different feel? Can a fan go on and, Sunday afternoon, or I'm sure mostly it'll be Sunday afternoons, next year, at 1 o'clock. I think their only travel is furthest is New Orleans and then, obviously London now. Can you
Yep.
go to a game and go, hey, like, we have a shot today? Like, no matter what, like, truly we have a shot. Cause if we play well, we're tough as a motherfucker. Like, we're going to hit people in the mouth and like, no one's going to want to play us. Whether we win every week or not, we might not have the horses, but like, can you be a team that people do not want? Like, they see on their schedule and they're like, damn, like, I feel like the Chargers this year were like that, and Denver to an extent where it's like, yeah, they probably don't have the talent. And I know, again, the Chargers have Justin Herbert. I get it. But the rest of that team, like, I'm telling you, look at the roster. Like, they got seriously worse talent wise. But it's like, this team is super physical, and both those teams are, and they play really good defense. They'll be able to hit you, and like, it's going to be a really shitty 60 minutes against them. If that you see that, I know it's a long-winded answer, but like, if you see that, I feel like you feel pretty good. Whereas I don't know if maybe it's revisionist history. I don't feel like I felt that way about the 2021 Jets. Like, I felt like they got run over a lot. I felt like they kind of caved at times. 2022 very different, but 2021 I felt like, I don't know. I mean, am I crazy? Like, outside the Titans game that year, I felt like every other game it was like you weren't really like expecting anything.
Yep. Well,
I got
what?
one more if you
Yeah,
want.
yeah. Real quick. What? So you think Sherwood's going to come back? I would say a 3 year around little more than Quincy signed for when he came back. What do you
Yeah.
what? And then Will,
I would
real
say,
quick,
yeah.
one more. While you're at it, it's kind of off the grid question, but what would you think the home game is going to be next year in London? I
Ooh.
kind of want it to be Pittsburgh. Will, to be honest,
In
because I don't
London,
want that. I don't want that MetLife being invaded with Steeler fans,
in
man.
London, I think it'll be
Or
Panthers or
so do I.
Falcons is my guess.
That was my besides Pittsburgh. I think it's
Because the
either
NFL
Atlanta or
knows they're going to
North
give you,
Carolina.
the Jets aren't
Yep.
going to want one of their highest selling revenue games for a home game. And no disrespect to the Falcons and the Panthers, those fan bases don't travel the same way Pittsburgh, Dallas, some of these other fan bases travel. And I would say it's a good bet. It'll be, I mean, no offense to anybody, like, look at the London, the only premier matchup, I can't remember a matchup in London where I was like, wow, 2 premier franchises. And it even like hilarious saying it now, but like Giants Packers 3 years ago was like, wow, like Giants Packers isn't, in Lambeau or in MetLife. Like, that's kind of weird. But Panthers or Falcons feels like the biggest lock of the century. Hope I'm wrong, but that's probably what it's going to be. Sherwood wise, it's going to depend on the new staff and what scheme they're going to run. He's Sherwood's really was really valuable to a solid type of scheme. Linebackers that can kind of run and cover. There's other schemes where that might not be as relevant. Do the Jets play a 3-4? Are they a 4-3 attacking team? Are they going to play 4-2-5? Like, what's going to be their base personnel? So, I think if I'm a new GM, and let's just say Sherwood fits the scheme, so make it easy. I would say, generally speaking, I would say like have a number hopefully hopefully it works. I don't know, three for 21, 3 for 24, kind of what Blake Cashman got. I don't think Sherwood's as good of a player as Blake Cashman is, but that type of number maybe. It's hey, 3 for 24, take it or leave it. And if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. But I don't think Sherwood's a $12 million a year player, but I also think he's a homegrown guy. You developed him.
Yep.
You'd like to see it kind of come to fruition on a good team, especially because you're going to probably lose Mosley. Quincy's going to want a new deal, so it's going to get. You got it. I'll end with this, PD. But like something I've seen a lot is like, oh, let this guy walk, let this guy walk. Let's rebuild this room. You can't do all of it in one off season. So at some point, like it's probably better to bring back some of the fringe. Like, hey, would it be nice if the Jets had an answer long term at right tackle? Yeah, for sure. Would I like to see them bring Morgan Moses back because it's like, hey, we can draft and develop a guy and like not have pressure for them to play year one? Yeah, that'd be ideal. Do I think they need multiple new tight ends? Yeah, of course I do. But you're already going to pay Tyler Conklin $6 million in the cap, and he's an effective player. Can't you draft one guy, bring him back on a 2 for 14 type of deal or 2 for 12, whatever it is, and at least you don't have to replace an entire room in one offseason? Like, you know what I mean? Like Brandon Eccles, is he a superstar? No. Do I think he could be a serviceable cornerback too? Sure. And he'd be like a $4 million a year player. It's probably better to have him back
Yeah.
than go spend another 15 million on a guy not named DJ Reed. But then it's like at some point you
Well,
got to be
Will,
like
real quick.
prioritize things.
Yeah, real quick. I know you got to go. What about a guy like Jair Alexandra
I don't know that.
or Alexander?
Yeah,
Sorry.
I like Jair still. I'm sure Jair still can play.
You think
Can
he's
he?
going to get like 10 plus still?
Someone's gonna gamble on the talent, man.
I
Jair
agree.
Absolutely.
is a special player,
Absolutely.
but he is a headache and a half. And I know it sounds like I'm being a pussy here, but like I don't know that he's the best influence to be around Sauce every day when you're trying to get Sauce in a mentality of like,
Oh no.
you know what I mean? Like these, so I
No.
feel like Sauce needs to be around like I don't know what'll happen, but like, can the Jets bring in Stephon Gilmore for 1 year, $7 million and be like, hey, you helped Cam Bynum and these other guys in Minnesota for a year, and you've been a really good influence. Like, this is how I work every day. 1 year with Gilmore around. So can you teach Sauce one or two things and that be their veteran move? I'd rather that type of move where Gilmore's not as good of a player anymore, for sure. But like as your second cornerback and really your third, if you include Michael Carter, like you could do worse. That's the type of move I'd like to see them make in like a Minnesota this year. The move was basically if we're good, we'll keep him, and if not, a contender will trade us a 5th round pick for him. In the middle of October or November, and I'd have the Jets have some of the similar approaches next year. Like take a couple shots on guys that are, I don't know, Josh Palmer. Like is Josh Palmer a great player in this league? No. Could he be an effective wide receiver 2.5? Yeah, I do. I do think he could be. And he probably is like, hey, I'm not going to cash in the way I wanted to. Can you get him on 1 year, $9 million? And if the Jets are 2-7, you trade him to a contender that, hey, Josh Palmer's got 40 catches for 400 yards and 6 touchdowns, and like, look, see, or hey, the Jets are, it's crazy, like they're 5-3 right now, like they look really good. This back half of the schedule is still difficult, but like they got a shot to make the playoffs. Let's hang on to them. Maybe we bring them back. That's the kind of those are more the type of signings I'd like to see than the like. I'd rather go smaller name, better production than the opposite. Just like less headaches in that locker room for a first year head coach, the better.
Will, one last question.
Yeah,
Let me ask you this: if I can get you that number 81, can we get you out of retirement to play
bro.
tight
I'll
end,
play.
brother?
I would play for free. I would pay to play, bro. I don't care. I'll go get CT if it means showing a little effort.
I need you out there, bro. Right now, you be the
I
best tight
can't.
end.
I don't. Speed's not going to be a thing, but I will catch everything. I promise you.
Will, thanks for always joining, man. Appreciate you. We'll talk to
Thanks,
you soon,
Of
Will.
man. All
course, man.
right.
Guys, enjoy the games this weekend, and everyone stay safe and healthy.
You too, man. All
Thanks,
the
man.
best, brother.
See ya.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, man.
Sorry, Bill Will had to run.
It's okay. I just want to ask him a Ben Johnson question. But
Yeah, we're guys. If you want to come back up now that Will's gone, not saying that that was bad, but come back up and listen and talk. You know I don't like to talk a lot.
Go ahead, Bill.
Yeah,
no, I just want you guys' opinion. What do you think about Ben Johnson? Like, I think he's just a tad overrated, and I get it. The
same, Bill.
offense.
Me too.
Do people realize how talented that offense is? I mean, he's got the best offensive line in the league. He's got running backs that would two of them that would start on 75% of in the league of the teams. His wide receivers is really good, and the tight end is really good, Laporta. So I mean, I'm not saying the guy can't call a good game, and Goff's played well. I'm not saying, but I think this, and to me, it's a red flag the way he's conducting his interviews. On top of it,
Yes. Yes.
He's scaring me off, bro. And especially for New York, and people. It's just everyone wants. I want an offensive coach. I want. It's not just the side of the ball. It's everything. Leader, putting a staff together and dealing with New York and and Will spoke about it. You know, you need the right personality because there's going to be ups and downs in the beginning, and will they survive that? And that's key. That's all I wanted to say. I got to run back to work, but I just want to let you
Great
guys.
points, Bill.
Yeah,
Great
thank you.
points.
And Bill, to your point, I'm hearing a lot from Detroit fans saying that his personality rubs a lot of people the wrong way.
Yes, I brought that up to Jokes before he poo-pooed it because I said he gave me Adam Gase vibes, but
Mm-hmm.
they are buddies. So,
Mm-hmm.
you know, but all right, guys, I got to run, but I'll be listening.
Thanks, brother.
No problem.
Thanks, Bill. And June, real quick, June. It's all good. That Will, if these guys say, like Costello yesterday, and Will said the competitive.
Yeah, I know
I mean,
what.
yeah, that's your dig now, and I like it.
You know,
But
come on, man. We gotta
yeah,
get.
yeah. I mean, but I'm sorry. I'm just not going into the. Rusty. Tried to cheer me up yesterday, but I am not going into next season. I refuse to until if I see the shit again, then I'll go off again. I just can't. I'm already beaten enough, June.
You know I know this, bro. You know I know this. I know.
I just can't take this anymore, man. It's just I'm not saying we're gonna win and make the playoffs and go on this run, but give me competitive football. Like prove everybody wrong. F
Well,
everybody.
so sometimes PD adversity makes character, right?
Yes.
Adversity makes character.
No,
And,
Jarek, I
the
know
tough
this.
time stuff to happen.
I'm Jarek. I'm not saying this as a shade towards you. I'm an older guy now. I've seen a lot of football, shit football, okay? And it's the NFL. You never know what's going to happen next year. You don't. God forbid something happens to the Bills. You don't know. As of right now, the Bills. I'm already picking the Bills to win the division, and it's freaking January. I ain't going through that all off season. 12-5 Jets, 13-4.
And look,
Get the f out of here.
and look, I'm also predicting Patriots to be in contention for the wild card spot
Yeah, we'll
already.
see. We'll see who they sign or whatever.
140 mil under the cap and some draft capital and a pretty good head coach.
Yeah.
Where's the quarterback? Yeah, I'm going. I'm going with
Oh, June. I see somebody in the look at who awoke. Reggie.
Reginald.
Reggie's
Alfred
been sleep.
Reggie.
I know Kelvin's always in here, but Kelvin's usually walking the dog at this time out west. But Reggie, we see you. You're out of hibernation.
Reginald.
What's up, Reg? Terrence,
Reginald.
you didn't get a chance to share before. Oh, he's gone again. I thought
Reggie.
Terrence wanted to come up. Guys, if you want to come up and speak, please do so. I love talking to June, but here he is. Hey, Reg. How are you?
I sent you a mic, Reg. How you doing, Reginald?
And Terrence is back too. Terrence, you want to talk? You haven't talked all morning.
3014. That's it.
That's right, 34th team. Because I felt, well, Rusty's in here too.
Yes.
Felt, I felt like this narrative about run it back was taken over, and
Yeah, I didn't like that shit either,
Wait,
Terrence.
June,
wait, wait. All right, go ahead.
June was like, I felt June was getting overwhelmed, and Rusty was being muted or something, so I had to come back in.
I
Nah,
appreciate
Nah,
that.
nah, I'm
nah.
only joking. I'm only joking.
Rusty wouldn't get muted.
I know that it's like I don't know. I got a distress signal. I got like the 34 up in the sky.
Yes, I did. I
No,
flashed that light.
no. I'm upset. I'm upset. I mean, the thing that I took away from earlier when I was listening, and I kept getting that my connection wasn't good. So I just didn't even want to talk because I knew I'd probably sound distorted and in the blender. But like, we keep talking about the coach and the offensive coordinator, but right now, I want to know who the GM is. Like we've met the Rooney Rule commitment, and like and supposedly reading Samini, we've met with 15 candidates for GM and 16 for head coach. I mean, to me, this is just like overkill. And to me, it's almost like the 33rd team is just using us to get all these guys, like I guess some time interviewing with somebody for the future, because like I overheard somebody say earlier that the Jets aren't even happy with some of the candidate, with most of the candidates that they've interviewed already. Then, why did you even bring them in the first place? Like I mean, there should have been a screening before the screening. But to me, it's excessive. But like, I don't even know how you get a GM by the weekend if you're not even getting to the second round of interviews yet. And when you consider that the Titans and the Raiders are our only competition for the GM spot, there shouldn't be any reason why we can't get a good GM. Somebody, I don't know why Borganzi would choose the Titans, considering what just happened there uh, with Ram Carthon. And I mean, I guess and then as much as the allure of Brady is there with the Raiders? I mean, during the football season, like how much involvement is he going to have? Because he's still going to be the Fox analyst, So, so to me, like
Yeah,
I want
that.
to get.
Why is that allowed, Terrence? Like that
Well,
shouldn't be allowed.
supposedly he's not allowed to sit in on the meetings, but I don't know. Then he's not allowed to talk to the coaches and talk about strategy because that's like a conflict of interest,
And
And
why was he on the
also,
field with Ben Johnson the other week?
Mm.
yeah, exactly. See, yeah, exactly. And so yeah, there's a conflict of interest there. I mean, again, it's all a sham. I mean, come on, the way the Patriots went about getting Vrabel, I mean, like basically, they just cut right through the red tape because they know what they wanted. I wish we did, but as Jokes said, like I said, 25 years and this guy hasn't learned anything about football, and yet he insists that the business and the football operations must merge. Like there
Well,
shouldn't be this.
Terrence, thinking is overrated.
Exactly. That's what it is. But now he has to think because now he's interviewing 31 people. Now it's overload. Now he likes he wants to hire all 31 of these people. That's the problem. Yeah. So I don't know. To me, get the GM right. And I mean, I don't know. Like, I'm not exactly mad. I know now there's going to be division in the 34, but like just because like if it's Borganzi, I'm not exactly the greatest Nagy fan, but but at the same time, at least he's got an offensive background, and I think that's the thing that everybody's worried about. But to me, yeah, like I don't all these if we get a new guy like Aaron Glenn, like there should be like hopefully he knows somebody who's been an offensive coordinator before as opposed to just bringing in somebody. And I agree with what Jokes was saying before, like if you're somebody in the Detroit system, Like, are you going to either stay with Detroit because Johnson's getting a job and you might as well stay right with Detroit with the system that you have in place, or can he bring somebody, or does he know somebody through his travels? Because he's been a coach with the Saints too, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, it's just to me, I'm just worried about a repeat of Salah where we just have nobody on the offensive side that knows what they're doing.
You
I
know,
mean,
I
yeah.
agree with you, Terrence.
Yeah, Alex, you came up. Good points, Terrence. Haven't heard from you in a while. What's going on, man? Alex, you here? I guess we got a bad connection. Alex,
Alex, can you hear us?
Terrence, I do think somebody's going to come here and want to challenge and take this job and prove people wrong. So, uh, Alex, are you here?
Petey, somebody will
Yes.
take the job. There's no doubt about that because there's only 32 of them.
Yeah,
But
and look how
that
many people
doesn't mean that
interviewed.
we're going to want that person.
Facts. I just feel like the strength of your team is definitely 100% your defense.
No,
And
it
I
was.
do truly feel that you need that defensive minded coach to be there because that's where your bread and butter is all on the defense.
Yeah, but
No, no,
it's
no,
much
no, no,
easier
no,
to
no. It
replace a
was the
defensive
defense.
coordinator than it
No, you
is.
could. I still feel you could revive. You can revive it. You know what I mean? You
No,
still have the pieces there. You know what I mean? You may lose one or two
We
pieces, but
can't
I still
afford to
feel like you got
lose.
the pieces there.
A
Hmm?
defense can't really excel when you can't score points. And we need a quarterback and we need someone to develop. And we can't have them replaced every year or two when somebody poaches them for a head coaching job. That's why I want an
Correct.
offensive
Correct.
minded head coach. It's easier to get a defensive guy than it is to get an offensive guy.
34.
Yeah, I
Those
don't.
are my reasons.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone.
What's
Hey,
up,
Yeah,
Alex?
I don't care who we pick. Just get it right. I think all this nonsense of let's pick the offensive guy, let's pick the defense. It's all stupid. It's all ridiculous. It's whoever we hire has to bring a good staff, whether it's an offensive coordinator or it's all meaningless. The overlying theme here is New England already has their head coach. They already have their quarterback. It's over for us to even consider Rex Ryan or Arthur Smith in the big chair. It's a lost organization who just has no leadership, no conviction. Forget about New England's like we're getting Vrabel. Get Mayo out of the building, get Vrabel in here, and let's go win a Super Bowl. The Jets are not capable of that. So it doesn't matter who we choose. It truly doesn't. You can already see the writing on the wall. Are we going to get lucky and get a 9 or 10 win season?
Yes.
Maybe,
Alex,
but
can I ask you
you know,
something?
But
Can I ask you
yeah,
something real quick?
it's
So
over.
so Alex, I
Yeah,
understand the Arthur Smith thing and giving him an interview,
Hmm?
but don't you
Got
think Reg
stickers all
Reg
over the.
can you
Oh, I
mute
thought that
Reg?
was.
It's all right.
What's up?
Alex, to be fair, like who the Patriots interviewed Pep Hamilton. Like he
it doesn't.
wasn't on nobody's radar. How come they're not getting clowned?
Petey, this has nothing to do with anything. They're not getting clowned because they're a serious organization. Everybody knew Vrabel was going to go there if that job was open. As
That's
much as
fair.
we held out as Jet fans.
And
So
that's
that
nothing against
nobody.
Pep Hamilton, Alex. I'm just saying, like, he was
No, well, we all
nowhere.
know it was a sham what they did, but they went in. They said, "What's our plan? We got to get this guy signed immediately." If the Jets were a smart organization, if Woody was smart, he would have hired a VP of football operations to do what Tannenbaum is doing now.
yes,
They would have hired a GM already, and they would have went to Vrabel and said, "Here's a 5 year, $75 million contract." They would have did this weeks ago, if they were smart, knowing that New England was after him.
and
Have the whole
Alex,
infrastructure in place, so it's
Alex, to your
over.
point, yeah, Alex, to your point. Also, if you notice, none of the experienced coaches Woody wants anything to do with, like McCarthy, right? Why is that? It's because Woody still wants to have that foot in the door. Where in your scenario, you're bringing that VP guy. If you're Woody, You say you run the show and you oversee the hires. That's why, like, Spielman would have been a great hire because
Right,
Spielman would be VP. Spielman knows how to identify good people. That's what he did in Detroit, correct? So
right.
that's what they really need. Listen, Alex, we go back and forth, me and you, so you know where I come from. The bottom line is we're gonna have to step in shit and get lucky that just we just stumble into
Right,
someone that's gonna
right.
change the culture. We're just gonna have to
And
get
look,
lucky. Yeah.
the Knicks got it with Brunson. They got lucky. Football is just different. It's 53. It's from the top down. We get on these spaces, and not we. I mean, I love the people are great. It's a waste of our time having these conversations about an offensive guy or a defensive
Yeah,
guy.
I agree.
You guys are 21 steps below what's going on. 21 steps below. It's already over. It's already done. There is no chance that this team is going to get it right over the next 3 years. It's done.
Alex, I agree.
It's over.
I think Woody Johnson's the biggest problem.
Already over. So you guys can sit in a room and argue. I want Cohen and I want Glenn and I want this and let's get boys done. It doesn't. It's already finished. They're already 3 miles
So
behind
wait, Alex,
going into 2025.
Unless
Alex,
they
Done.
get lucky.
if they get Borgonzi, are you happy as for the GM part? At least he's one of
Petey,
the top guys.
Petey.
I'm just saying.
It doesn't matter. Joe Douglas was the top guy. He was 30 and 64. It's
Mm.
over. They don't have the infrastructure to get the job done. They don't have it. And that it's even the stadium is garbage. Like everything about New York football is finished. That's it. I mean, look what's going on the other side of the stadium. They,
You
they might be
sound
in worse
soft as
shape
hell,
than we are.
Alex. It sounds like you done lost all hope, Alex.
Well, it's not. And the
Yeah,
truth
yeah,
is,
that's
it's
what it
not
sounds like
about.
to me.
Well, listen, it's
I've
June.
been
Look,
listening to you for
it's
5 minutes. Even in the
No,
it's
that's
anonymous,
not
people been
about
T.
it,
Let
complaining.
him,
Let
Alex, T.
but
Let
it's
him
not a
go.
complaint.
I
These
want to
are
hear him.
that's
factual.
T,
These
Alex.
are factual statements
Alex,
that
you
I'm
know this is
making.
T, right? This ain't somebody you just met today.
No, who is it?
This is T. This ain't
T.
Oh,
somebody you
T,
just
Dizzle.
what's
met
up?
today.
T. Dizzle. You one of your biggest fans, Alex.
I got
Yeah,
coach,
this is
but coach,
me.
but coach, but coach. Let's be honest. What is the scenario where they come out on top? Where they have an 8-year regime that's in and out of the playoffs, that wins a division, that maybe bottoms out a little bit, but has a great draft. They don't have that. They don't have that. And you want the truth? It's like, I don't even want Aaron Glenn to come here because I don't want him to ruin his career. And I think he's going to be great.
Yes,
I
I
think Glenn's
agree.
going to be fantastic.
I agree,
He's a
Alex.
Parcells disciple. He at least has the makeup. If you
So
have
you like Bill
patience and time,
Parcells?
say it again.
You like Bill Parcells?
Yes.
He's the best organizational coach in NFL history, period.
Yep.
Right,
Any
but Alex,
organization
Alex,
he
I
went
must say to
to,
you, with that being said, this is also a new era. This is not that era no more. This is a whole new era. Blink when you watch football on Saturday and Sunday, and tell me what
you
you see next week. I
listen,
just
you
want you to
still have to
blink.
get.
I just want
Great
you to
You,
blink.
answer,
I don't want
buddy.
you to say nothing.
I don't.
I just
I
want you to
disagree
blink,
with that.
and then
You
tell me what
still
you
have.
realize.
You still have to get these men to be on the same
Yes,
page.
you do. So have you
Period.
found your leader yet?
No,
Okay
the
then.
Jets have not.
Okay, so you got
Well,
to find a
you
leader.
guys got to start before we even
with
talk
with
about.
an owner. You got to start with an owner, coach, and the owner doesn't have it. And what we're seeing in the last month, the last 6 weeks, is a direct reflection of a lost
What's
person
going on here?
who has no clue or concept on how to put this together. This should already have been done.
What's going
The
on here?
Jets,
Alex, Woody doesn't
it's
want to hand the keys over. That's what totally over. That's
but
the
that and that's
problem.
and you want the truth? That's why people are popping in and out because he's interviewing people
Well,
like an
Alex, you
Arthur
my
Smith.
guy because you PD guy. You need the files. Is it that time yet? You need the files.
I don't know what
You,
that means. Need what
man,
files?
look.
How
You
many
want
people are
motherfuckers
talking at the
gone, right,
moment?
Alex?
Say it again.
You want motherfuckers gone, right? You want your organization to bring glory back to New York, right?
He
So you
doesn't
Okay.
got the
like
I don't.
Woody.
files to
He
get those
doesn't like
people that you
Woody.
We
T.
got them files to get them people that you don't like up out of here.
But there's only one person because everybody else is
Well, it don't
gone.
matter who the person is.
And
We need
he's
them
not
gone,
gonna.
right,
But
Didi?
T, he's not gonna sell the team, Alex. And
He will if them files come out.
I'm with Alex
Oh,
on
with that.
this. Oh yeah,
No,
Alex,
no, it's
I'm with
over.
you.
Yeah, no, listen to me. Who's in a better spot right now, the Pats or the Jets?
The
Ooh,
Patriots. They got
it's
a
Pats.
Not
definitely the
even
quarterback.
close.
Patriots. They got
It's
they
not
got
even
Not even
Cap.
close.
close.
What they
It's
got?
not
What
even
they got? What
close.
they got? 100 million cap, third
One
round pick,
Quarterback.
forty.
first round
At least a
pick.
140.
quarterback to build around,
Figure
and they have a
30.
head coach who is going to demand accountability on that field. We
Oh,
don't have anything. There's nothing. We have a bunch of malcontents who were brought up in a poor football culture with the last regime, who it's like they're infected with shit. So I don't have the answer. I mean, to me, I'm not going to sit here and say, get this guy, get it doesn't matter. At some point, they're just going to meddle, they're going to fuck it up, and we're going to be miserable. And it's just,
you're
we
tired
really
of
got
it, and I
fucked.
get it, Alex. I
Alex,
get
I
it.
feel
Alex,
the
no,
50
best
Alex,
bet
I
to your
is
awful.
get it.
as
point.
No,
long
like I
as
really get it, Alex. You're not
as
complaining.
long as you
That's
guys
just
don't
I was
Yeah.
messing with you when I said it sounded like you were crying, but I get it, bro. I
No,
really get it.
coach. Look,
no, as
coach,
long as
and I,
you guys need a good, decent GM first. We got
Oh,
to
you
start from
Wait,
Reggie,
wait,
how
wait,
about you
wait,
you
shut
wait,
got
the
to
wait,
hell
wait,
start
up
from
and
wait,
the
figure out
wait,
if
you
wait,
got
you
you
were
got
wait,
to
gonna be
wait.
your
start from the
quarterback next
Wait,
year?
wait,
You
wait,
leave
wait,
my
wait,
Jets
wait, wait, wait.
my
Yeah,
Jets friends
I love you
alone.
guys.
yeah,
I,
yeah.
I gotta run
You
up and
leave
do
my Jets
rounds.
niggas alone.
I
Alex,
appreciate
be well.
Oh,
the
Be in
therapy
touch.
all
session,
right,
and I love
Alex.
you guys. Coach, be good, coach.
Reg,
What'd you say?
yo.
You gone?
He said,
June,
"Be
be
good,
good.
Coach."
be
And
Everybody,
good,
be
June, be
Al.
good.
good.
Be
Everybody,
good, Al.
Be
love you.
well, Alex.
You got it, June.
Take care, Alex.
Hey, Reg, you got
Have a good
some
day,
nerve.
Al.
Reginald got
What?
some nerve to tell us what we need. You need the same shit we need. Stop it.
Mm,
What shit?
Mm,
Hold
mm.
on.
Stop,
Let's look in
stop,
my back
stop.
pocket.
Ev-
Let's
ev-
hold on. Let's look in my back pocket, dog. Hold on.
you-
You're short. You're short a GM. You're short a
okay.
head coach,
You
and
you
damn it, you're
you got a
short all
horrible
position
GM.
coaches.
You got a bad head
Damn it,
coach.
you need an offensive
It's the
coordinator
same
as
thing.
well. You
Oh,
need the whole. You need the whole. Like you need the
Yeah, but
whole
what
what
shebang.
do
this is
you
all
need?
about, all
We
this is
need some
going to
tweaking. We
actually,
definitely
what,
need some
Rusty?
tweaking. I'll
Wait,
tell you
let me
that
hear
much.
Rusty. Rusty, what? Rusty, what?
I don't know. I'm hearing people in the blender.
Oh, can you hear me?
PD, I can hear you. PD,
Was I in
Oh,
the blender, Rusty?
You were
No.
a while
everybody was
ago, but
too.
right now it seems like you're not.
Oh, okay.
It
Well, thank
PD,
you for
It might.
telling me.
it
PD
was
to
I
Reggie
Alex.
that was in
appreciate
the
that.
blender.
Oh,
What, Bill?
To Alex's point, why he has such little faith. I think if you a perfect example is the one time Woody did have a decent run with Rex and Tannenbaum, they ruined that too.
Yeah,
They
because he stepped in and he freaking got Tebow.
No, 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 no.
well, it wasn't
Yes,
only
that was
that.
a
No,
big.
it was
Wait.
it was
Not
their
just that.
That did
philosophy.
affect
Their
the team. It
philosophy changed.
affected Sanchez. He started losing
He also
confidence,
Yes,
he also
and when
he
you have
also
a
Their
quarterback
intervened.
that
yeah.
loses confidence, you don't have a
He
quarterback.
he also
they changed their
intervened and went and
philosophy.
got exit.
Well, right, but I think too.
Well, that's when he
Besides the
fired
Tebow
Tenenbaum.
thing, I think.
Hello, did you go in the
Yeah,
Matrix,
Yeah,
Pete?
he did.
I had a call. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
We
Yeah,
got
yeah,
you.
you
Okay.
good, Pete? Go
I
ahead,
think
man.
real quick because I don't want to. I got to wrap up soon.
See, I disagree with Alex. I know that we
Ooh.
have a problem with Woody, and we will always have that problem as long as he exists.
Yes.
But there's nothing that says that we can't choose the right GM and head coach. There's nothing that says we can't do that. There are people
Amen,
available right
Rusty.
now which would be good choices. He just has to get off his butt and make those choices.
But Rusty,
Right. We have to. It has to be
what
like
are
the Knicks situation. We have to just get lucky with the
I'm
pieces.
not
what are
gonna
the
lie. I don't
odds?
think y'all really listen to what Rusty said because I agree with Rusty.
No. I agree, but what are the odds that there's someone who is capable of turning around a franchise takes the job knowing what he does?
Well, y'all gotta change your attitude and put positive energy into the atmosphere. You're sitting in
T
Cancun
T
right now
T
and you're making mock
T
drafts. and you're
T
worried about who your next head
T
coach or GM gonna be.
T
Life passing you by
T
over and over. Who is the
T
Chiefs gonna three-peat? Are the
T
Lions gonna finally win a Super Bowl? Are the
T.
Bills gonna finally win?
You should be
Or are the
worried about the
Eagles
Rams
or
next
Ravens
week,
gonna come
brother.
and bring glory? Huh?
You should be worried about the Rams next week, brother.
Why would I be worried about a team that got to come into my house? My house. I know that's your generation. My house, nigga. What? Yeah, they gotta come into
Whatever.
my house. Yeah, that's the old one for y'all, for the
Uh,
old head. That was for the old head.
look, I don't
Yeah.
see us. I mean, I don't see a good head coach taking the. Like I said, I said
Wait,
before.
June, was that your way of trying to be funny and say they're really gonna beat us? Or you was just being funny?
No, I think they got a chance.
Boy, get
Absolutely,
the fuck out of here.
they do got a
You must be
chance.
insane.
They have a coaching
We
advantage.
better bring out
They have
the legacy pick for this game.
they have a
Jeremiah
coaching
Trotter will be
advantage.
on ass.
Listen. See, they have a coaching advantage. They arguably have one of the best defensive line in the league.
Oh, they
Um,
do.
yeah, right,
What
and
happened to
coaching
that
advantage.
defensive line last time they played us?
I mean,
And we were in their house
I'm
before the fires.
well. Let's see what happens.
Okay. Is you willing to bet money on them?
Hell no, I'm not betting on the team that's not mine, and
Oh,
I
all
damn
right.
sure won't bet on mine right now. So no, Buffalo. The three wise men in Buffalo changed all that. I'm not doing none of that shit no more. Jarek, don't start laughing. All right.
You said the three wise men.
I,
I already know who you're talking about. That's insane.
I,
No, bro. I've
I
been seeing the
lost.
recordings,
All
bro.
right, T, I got to run. All right, listen, this is for you though.
Yeah. And guess what, June? My team won a playoff game on my birthday. We're going all the way.
All right, guys,
Uh,
I got to close up. Guys, thanks to Will Parkinson, Buckeye, to June, as always, for co-hosting. Rusty, Jarek, Dom's in here. Brittany, hello. Reggie, thanks for coming up. Ground and punt. Mr. Bandman, Justin Regan's down there. Have a great day, guys. Be well. Go Jets. We'll see you tomorrow.
tear it down. Jarek, where you at?
Tear it down. Tear it down.
Tear it
Later,
down.
guys. Good day.